It's been a while since we sat down and had one of these chats. About 2 months, if I'm counting correctly, and hoo boy, what a hectic 2 months they've been. The end of 2022 and the start of 2023 have been rough, to say the least, but not without some really cool stuff happening as well. And so I thought, what a brilliant way to brush away the cobwebs and kickstart things again for 2023 than to sit down with you all and talk about what went on in those 2 months. Where have we been? Why haven't I touched YouTube or even my social media accounts really during that time? Hopefully by the end of this video, you'll understand. Ahoy there folks, and Celebonani! I'm Captain Benzie, also known as the Bulawayo Buccaneer. If you enjoy this video, please, it would mean the world to me if you'd hit that like button. It really helps the channel out, and subscribe if you want to see more of this. Also, for those who are interested, I do now have merchandise. I wasn't doing this as a serious kind of thing. I wanted some t-shirts to wear for myself, but because of that, they are available for public sale. Link in the description with global shipping, I think, so worth checking out if that's your kind of thing. Otherwise, let's get on with it. So the last time we spoke was at the end of November, and I was doing a video talking about how electricity differs in Zimbabwe to the UK. And it was around about that point that everything started going very much south for us. The guy living on the property with us hadn't been paying his bills and thus had us cut off from our electricity supply. That took a long time for us to get sorted. Literally 2 days after we did so, there was a power cut and some enterprising individuals took it upon themselves to steal the overhead power cables in our area. This has been a bit of a plague in Bulawayo for a lot of 2022. Thieves stealing cabling because the copper is valuable. Now we phoned Zessa and explained the situation to them, and they said, oh, that's fine, we'll come and replace it when we have cables. You can either supply the cables yourself, or you can wait up to 8 to 12 weeks whilst we source the cables for you. And so we decided that was way too long. We've already got deep freezers full of meat. I've obviously got my work, which requires electricity. We went around the local community, took donations, and went and bought the cabling ourselves. This is something I'll probably do a full video on, everything from start to finish on that full procedure there. It's also on my TikTok and in the shorts section if you want to get sort of the day by day how that all went for us. We got the cabling and we were told by Zessa, you need to drop this off at main stores here in Bulawayo. So we drove down to main stores with this roll of cable in the back of the car, only to discover literally fields of rolls of aluminium cabling already there and waiting, and just Zessa doing nothing about it. Why did we have to buy more cable? But whatever. We've got the cable, we've dropped it off with them, 9:30 tomorrow morning, we'll be there to put it up. Huzzah! Except they weren't there at 9:30. They didn't show up for literally 9 days, with us phoning, are you coming today? We still don't have power. We've dropped the cable off. What's going on? 9 days. Our deep freeze with $400 worth of meat in it that we had stocked up in time for Christmas, gone. Ruined. And this isn't just us. This has been hundreds of people across Bulawayo sitting there in no electricity, constantly saying to Zessa, we've bought the cables, when are you fitting? When are you fitting? Or we haven't bought the cables because we can't afford it, when are you fitting? And Zessa just leaving those people literally in the dark. Suddenly, as I put up that TikTok video explaining that we've bought the cables, we've dropped them off at main stores, and we're still waiting, the day after that, people are contacting me on TikTok and saying, Zessa have miraculously turned up this morning and are fitting our cables. Hundreds of people around Bulawayo suddenly reconnected. Now, I'm not gonna claim that that was me, that I had any influence, but it certainly feels like a coincidence if nothing else. But hallelujah, we got our power back. 9 days and one completely ruined deep freeze later, and we're finally back on the grid. Now the thing is, to make this kind of worse, whilst we're doing all of this running around trying to keep on top of Zessa, buying the cabling, pressuring them to actually come and fit it, driving up and down to the main offices in Bulawayo Central to find out just what is going on, both Carrie and I came down with a horrific flu. We were practically man down while trying to do that all, but kind of had to push through to make sure it got done. The day that the electricity came back, Carrie and I pretty much both just died. Finally, we have achieved our goal. We can now rest. Now, for the most part, being a content creator is awesome. I get to do what I love, and I get to engage with thousands of people all across the world and share passions with them. The downside is I don't have paid leave, and my income is entirely predicated on my output. Most employees go to their boss, they have paid leave. They can say, can I take this week off? Can I take that week off? I don't get that. If I take a day off, it means no content and thus no income. At the same time, with everything that had gone on through late November, early December with the electricity and with our illness, I was just worn out. 5 videos a week on my main channel throughout an entire year, no time off at all. It was time for me to take a holiday. And so that's what I did. December for me was a mental health break. I do suffer with clinical depression, and so sometimes I do have to take that step back. So I thought I'll take the rest of December off and just relax, especially since it's Christmas and New Year. We're going to be going up to Masuna anyway and spending time with family. Let's just focus on that. So that's what we did. Carrie and I jumped in the car with the cats and we drove up to Masuna. We were going to spend Christmas and New Year there with family. As we arrive, the power goes out. Not only does the power go out, but the cell phone signal has completely gone as well. This was not an ideal situation. 3 days before Christmas with most of my family in the UK and abroad, yeah, I was getting really worried about how I would even wish people a Merry Christmas. No cell phone signal whatsoever. The only plan that we could make was to drive 40 minutes out of camp up towards Wangi Town, where we could just about sit on the edge of phone signal, use that, then turn around and do a 40-minute drive back to camp. Not a great situation, but hey, it's workable. And again, we're phoning Econet every day and saying to them, look what's going on. And they're saying, oh, well, it might be a week or so. I'm like, but it's Christmas. It's Christmas, we want to be able to contact people. We're in the middle of the bush. We normally have signal. Why don't we have signal? Fortunately, however, late in the evening on the 24th of December, our phones suddenly start vibrating and pinging and making all of these noises. The cell phone signal is back. Getting to wake up on Christmas morning and actually wish my family in the UK Merry Christmas was a fantastic relief off my shoulders. I've been worried about this, but suddenly there we were. And Christmas Day was lovely. We had a fantastic roast with some kind of game meat. I'm not actually sure off the top of my head what meat it was, but it was really nice. Brilliant to spend time with the family, playing some games like Rummy Cub and some other card games during that time. Nice and relaxing, nice and chill. I was intending to record some videos while I was there as well, perhaps talking about how Zimbabweans celebrate Christmas. Unfortunately, it was so hot. I would set everything up, hit record like I am now, and my phone would very quickly tell me, your phone is overheating, and then it would just shut off the camera. This is a brand new Pixel 7. That's not a problem with the phone, that's just how hot it was. With Christmas behind us, it's time to look forward to the new year. And ultimately, I may only be 34, but I'm too old for the party big din dindy kind of scene. We made a whole tray of different snacks, meatballs, chips, deviled eggs, this kind of thing, and we went up to the Point, that building at the very edge of the island overlooking the river. We played some music, and a load of people showed up, and we just celebrated calmly. It wasn't this huge, big, raving party. It was just a wonderful, relaxed, spend some time with good company and see the new year in, play Auld Lang Syne, then head back home to bed. That may sound boring to some people, but that's what I would want out of a new year, or to sit around a table and play some board games or card games with people. Just spend quality time with the people I love. I'm not big on that whole party, but hey, that's just me, and I hope some of you had a fantastic new year as well. I'd love to hear what you did for celebrations in the comments down below. But on the subject of New Year, there was one thing that was really exciting me and I was looking forward to. I knew that when we were coming back on January 3rd, we were going to be coming back to an empty house. the guy who lived with us, was going to be gone. Now, this may sound really nasty, and I'm not going to go into the full details, but for 2.5 years, I've struggled in this house. We had originally 8 dogs in the garden that were unruly, aggressive, untrained mutts. Eventually, that was reduced to 5, which even then was still problematic. I was so excited to be coming home on the 3rd of January to a house that was going to be Carrie, myself, and our niece and nephew, and we could just focus on being a family, keeping this place clean, and starting to actually progressing up and doing it up to look nice. So we arrived home on January 3rd to an empty house. We've seen a lot of mess has still been left here, but we set to cleaning that up, getting things tidied. We start to move things around the house. We now have a dining room in what used to be our kitchen, and our kitchen has now moved into the original kitchen, and it just feels so much better. This toxic environment has just lifted from us. And we're now in a situation where this house honestly feels like a home. We're working on keeping it clean, the kitchen looks wonderful, and then suddenly we are gifted with a new lounge suite and a microwave. One of our best friends, Matt and Dave, their gran was getting a new couch suite for their house and was like, oh, I don't know what to do with the old one. And Matt said, I do, and thus here we have this lovely comfy couch suite, much better than the 2 ridiculously stiff and wooden armchairs we had before, and a settee that was literally falling apart. Like, I couldn't record in this room because it was just foam and poof everywhere. Then AD, another one of our friends, said, I've got a microwave that I'm not using, why don't you guys have that? So now we can do microwave popcorn and we can defrost meat properly, and it's the little things in life. But the trials and tribulations didn't quite end there. A couple of weeks after we got back, suddenly we get hit with a water bill that is in the hundreds of thousands. And we're sitting there thinking to ourselves, this doesn't make sense. We're not using that much water surely, and the rates haven't gone up. So we phone through to the Rates and Water Department at Bulawayo City Council, and they explain to us, well, it could be that you have a leak. And so we went around and dug up all of the pipes in our garden, every single one. Carrie's beautiful garden has turned into a trench network, but eventually we did find that, yes, we had sprung a leak. 3 days with no water whilst we tried to get that fixed, because again, this house hasn't had its plumbing serviced in as long as anyone still alive can actually remember, which is kind of worrying in and of itself. But hey, Carrie's out there with Thorn, our nephew, going crazy and getting all of that sorted, and we now have the water back. So yay, hallelujah to that as well. And that brings us to the best part of this story. Now, you remember how I'd said that we had a load of dogs on this property that were just problematic for us. They would bark at nothing all day, all night. They were aggressive, they were untrained. Let's not go into this, but with them gone, Carrie and I could finally get dogs of our own. We went to the local SPCA, the Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, and there were 2 beautiful dogs there that needed rehoming fairly soon. They said you are going to have to pass an inspection, which is fair enough. We need to have dog beds, we need to have bowls, we need to make sure that the property is secure so that the dogs can't escape. They go through and do like a little questionnaire just to make sure you're a good fit for the dog. I wholeheartedly agree with all of this. Carrie, Matt, AD, and a few of our other friends had spent a weekend basically sorting out all of the wire fencing to make sure that these dogs were completely safe, just patching up any of the holes. And let me introduce you. This is Loki, and this is Sagan. 2 beautiful dogs rescued from the SPCA, both very loving, very playful. Aren't you both? Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes. And finally, let me end on a period of really good news as well. Now, for the past 6 years of living in Zimbabwe, I've had to renew a residency permit every 2 years. First 2 years was $500, and then it's been about $300 every 2 years after, and it's a bit of a rigmarole to go through. But Because this is now year 6, I've been living in the country 5 years, I can apply for permanent residency. That was an expensive little spend, $500 to get that all kick-started, but I've gone and I've done my fingerprints, I've done all the documentation, that has now been sent to Harare, and hopefully in a couple of weeks, I should have my permanent residency back. This now means that basically, when I update my passport, I have to update my permanent residency. It's about $100 when that happens, and that's once every 10 years. I may do a video talking about the whole permanent residency application process, but obviously because you're dealing with police and customs officials, I can't really get much in the way of footage, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if that one happens. But anyway, folks, that brings us up to today, and I am so happy with how things are finally turning out. It feels like we've got control of a home again. It's been a 2-month rough period that is now finally over, now that the Zessa is sorted, now that the water is sorted, and now that we have 2 wonderful dogs to look after as well. I'm eager to showcase how this year is going to go forward. I'm looking forward to sharing that all with you and talking about how our life goes, and I really hope that you'll enjoy watching. If you do, please, again, hit that like button if you haven't already. It does mean the world. Subscribe if you want to support the channel and see more content like this, and of course, check out the merchandise store if that's something that you're into. Otherwise, folks, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.